Today, on this very special occasion, which in the Himalayan Buddhist tradition, we have the four most holiest day in the year, from which today stands the holy day of attaining the wheel of Dharma by our great teacher, Buddha Senchen Monastry at Varanasi, at the Deer Park Garden, which nowadays it is known as Saranath, has been requested by the Lord and the King of Heaven, or the God realm, Brahma and Indra, was supplicated Buddha to turn the wheel of Dharma to according to the intelligence of the student, to order to overcome on the ignorance which causes the samsara and the suffering. So to order to overcome on that, so it was been strongly requested and supplicated to Buddha Senchen Monastry to turn the wheel of Dharma. So today is the day that the wheel of Dharma was being turned. At the age of 35, Buddha Senchen Monastry, 45 days after being enlightened, so he started to give teachings up till the age of 82, that he passed away in Parinirvana. So the biggest gift of the enlightened being, Buddha Senchen Monastry, that is given to this world is the teaching, the entire teaching that he provided from the point of his own wisdom. So, which his wisdom skillfully, he translated his wisdom in teaching and shared with us, so that we can also enjoy the benefit of the wisdom equally as he himself has been attended. So, although the Buddha Jayanti or the birth is great, and being enlightened is also great, there's no doubt about that, there's no question about that. But as myself personally, as I told you earlier, that in the Himalayan Buddhist tradition, we have four most holiest days in the year. Personally, I take this day today as the most greatest activities from all the enlightened activities that Buddha Senchen Monastry has performed in this world 2,600 years ago. Because it is his teaching that has been able to illuminate this world. It is his teaching that has been awakened numerous of sentient beings from ignorance. And it is his teaching that has been given to, till now, peace, self-confidence, love and kindness, and compassion mind through his teaching. So, because of his teaching, we have been able to still enjoy the benefits of the enlightened wisdom. So that's why, although, as I mentioned earlier, all his activities that he performed are great, because each and single movement of the Buddha is totally based on the intention of benefiting another. The reason why is because to become enlightened, you need to be perfected with the immeasurable compassion mind. So to become enlightened, you need to be presented with two minds, which is known as the wisdom, and another one is known as the compassion. And compassion, not just only a compassion, but immeasurable compassion. Immeasurable compassion means compassion free of conditions and limit. So therefore, someone who's been perfected with such an immeasurable compassion, so all the movements have no another intention than to the benefit of another. So therefore, I do rejoice, respect, and pray the entire activities of the enlightened ones that has been performed. But from all his activities, the most greatest activities, as I told you, that it is the activity of the turning the wheel of Dharma. So example, looking back into the life story of Buddha Shakyamuni himself, at the age of 35, when he attained enlightenment under the Bodhi tree. So the enlightened one strongly, of course, the enlightened one is omniscient. There's no doubt that the enlightened one can't see and understand each and single, but to make us feel comfortable and confident, so the enlightened being one realize that if we have to directly translate and speak out his knowledge, no one will be able to understand it. Because what he has attained, the state of wisdom, is beyond the capacity of our mind. It is beyond the capacity of our mind. It is beyond the capacity of our conceptual thoughts, conceptual feelings. So therefore, he clearly knew that if we translate his wisdom directly, nobody is going to understand. But rather than being able to understand, it is going to create confusion. So Buddha decided, rather than creating confusion, I better not speak it. So he remained silent for 7 weeks. So remaining silent under the Bodhi tree for 7 weeks. So then, at the end of seventh week, which is exactly the 49th day. So, as I told you, the Lord and the King of Heaven, or the God realm, Brahma and Indra, approached Buddha and offered a wheel. The Brahma offered Buddha the wheel, Dharma chakra, and the Indra offered Buddha a conch. And they both supplicated to Buddha by saying that if the enlightened being does not speak and turn the wheel of Dharma, who will be able to guide and illuminate this world? If the enlightened being does not teach us, so what is the purpose of getting enlightened? If the enlightened being doesn't turn the wheel of Dharma to the ignorant being, so who has the capability to turn the wheel of Dharma and guide the ignorance being? So if the enlightened one does not touch the wheel of Dharma, so where did all the previous vow and the commitments of the enlightened ones before being enlightened when they were bodhisattva? So they have taken all the vows and commitments to liberate sentient beings until the samsara ends. So where did the commitments and vow are? So therefore, with making all this request and supplication, so then finally Buddha did accept it, the request. Finally Buddha accepted. So after accepting the request, so Buddha understood clearly that the first sermon has to be done in Varanasi. The reason why is because it is important when the enlightened being teaches. The enlightened being doesn't teach us to everybody like that. He first teaches to those who are suitable, those who can understand. So therefore, the first 5 students of Buddha who were residing in Varanasi. So Buddha went there and started to the wheel of Dharma. So therefore, and as I told you that until the age of 82, the amount of teachings that Buddha has spoken during this period, so it is known as the 84,000 heaps. The 84,000 heaps. So, which this 84,000 heaps of teaching can be summarized as Tripitaka or Tripitaka, as in English we say, translated as the 3 baskets. Tripitaka or the Tripitaka. So, anyway, if all those 84,000 heaps of teaching are been written down or transcribed or written down, the answer is we really don't know that has it been all been transcribed or not. But according to the sutra, if someone has to transcribe the heaps, those 84,000 heaps of teaching, so what will be the amount of the teaching will be in terms of books? It says that a single heap, amount of the books of a single heap is will be a book that a male strong elephant, a very strong male elephant, like how many books can a male strong elephant can carry? So one heap can be that amount of teachings. So if that is the case, so then we can imagine it, like how much the amount of the books will be if all the 84,000 heaps of teachings have been translated. So anyway, so what are those 84,000 heaps of teachings are? These 84,000 heaps of teachings are none other than to subdue, overcome, and uproot different types of 84,000 afflicted emotions. So, although from one hand, it is true that our emotion is beyond number. It is impossible to say that as a human, it is impossible to say that, oh, we have this amount of emotion. It is impossible. It is out of number. But it can be summarized. It can be summarized. In elaborate, it can be summarized into 84, and in shorter, it can be summarized into 3. So anyway, so it has been summarized into 84,000 different types of emotions. And all those emotions are, so of course, it's not just only some kind of saying we have it, but there are details of different types of emotions. So we might feel like, how is that possible? It is possible. Let's take an example. So let's take an example of attachment. If if there are 1,000 different types of object, we'll have 1,000 different types of attachment. And each of those single attachments are not same. The attachment on the food is not same as attachment on the house. It is not the same. So just take an example. Just for attachment. So can we imagine that how many attachments will there be? Just only for. So all those different kinds of attachment is out of number, in fact. But this can all be summarized into one as saying attachment. It can be summarized. But in fact, if you go in details, there are different attachment. So therefore, same as regards with the hatred also. So there are millions of different types of hatred. Pride, jealousy, millions. So therefore, this is how. But it has been understood into 84,000. And if we have to summarize that also, so all those emotions can be summarized into three root, which is known as passion, aggression, ignorance. Passion, desire, attachment, aggression, anger, hatred, and ignorance. What is ignorance? Ignorance means misunderstanding or no awareness, lack of awareness or misunderstanding. So it can be all included into this three root. So that's why even the teachings of Buddha, why it has been summarized into three Pitaka is because these three Pitakas are none other than the three wisdom that can help us to subdue our three root emotions. Passion, the attachment, aggression, the anger, then the ignorance. So now the question is, why do we have to work with such this time our emotions? Why do we need to work? That's the biggest question. Of course, such one question. The answer is very simple. And the answer is very simple, and plus the answer is, I call it is a common sense. Nothing like either you believe in religion or spiritual or not. Either it doesn't matter what's your background, so whatever who you are, but there is one single thought, feeling, and this has been shared by equally everybody. From point of Buddhist view, from God up to the hell realm. Everybody has the same feeling. And the feeling is what? I wish to be happy and I don't want to be suffered. That's it. We make our life very complicated, but the answer is very simple. What we are looking in our life. What we are looking in our life is, I want to be happy and I don't want to suffer. That's only what we are looking. But we make this very complicated. We make this very, very, very complicated that finally we get lost and we forget our main agenda. We forget because we make it more complicated. But in fact, the answer is very simple. What you want, what I want, what we all want. We want to be happy, we don't want to suffer. So therefore, yes. Why do we have to work on dealing with our own emotion? The answer is, do you wish to be happy? Yes. Do you wish not to be suffered? Yes. Because, as I always say that, there isn't any person in this world who gets up early in the morning and say, I want to have a bad day today. There isn't single. There isn't single. So therefore, this has not such this kind of feeling has our senses has nothing to do with religion or non-religion. Everybody equally. equally, we have the same feeling. So this is a very important and crucial point in Buddhism, that the Buddhists said that we are all equal. We are all equal. Why? Because Buddha said that even you might be from high caste, but in fact, you have the same feeling and the wish as the most lower caste. So Buddha said it's same. So this is one of the biggest, technique that is being used in Buddhism to focus on and train ourselves to how to respect another just like you, just like ourselves. The way how we love and respect ourselves. So this is the main mentality, this common sense is being used in Buddhism, that we meditate to learn how to respect another also, just like the way how we respect. I mean, like, example, why do we respect a lot to us? Why do you care to ourselves a lot? Why do you think that I'm the most precious? Because the one who gives, so if you really see deeply into yourself to get the answer is, I'm someone who wish to be happy and who don't wish to be suffered. This is why I have to make myself precious. This is why I have to give the priority to myself. This is why I need to respect and love to myself. That is the main answer that comes. Either you might give some different answer, but if you really go deeper, this is the answer that gives it. Why do I have to give priority and precious to myself? So by knowing that this is what makes me precious, so when we use this to focus on another, so we also can understand that, oh, just like me, they also have the same feeling. So that's how we cultivate the sense of equality. Equality. So the cultivation of sense of equality will teach us how to respect another, and this brings us into the non-violence practice. Non-violence practice. Why? Because this sense of want to be happy, so you protect yourself not to get harmed. So when you understand with another also, so the same feeling will not to harm yourself will be also applied on another by understanding I shouldn't harm them also. That's the beginning of non-violence. That's how we approach into the non-violence. Non-violence. Immediately we don't start, oh, everything is beautiful, very, very nice, so this is how we should be non-violent. No, we don't go in like that. The way how we start non-violent, we look into ourselves and find out why am I so precious. So when you see that, the reason, so when we look to another, you find the same to everybody. Then you feel, yeah, I mean, they already relation. Most cover bigly chute. I mean, they already relation. This is where you end up. So more relation, then you hesitate to harm another. The beginning of non-violence. So that's how when you focus more and more, then it gets cultivated into compassion. Anyway, so we are getting off the track. Let's go back to track. So therefore, since I said, why do we have to learn on training our mind? The answer is, I said, it is common sense. Wish to be happy, don't wish to be suffered. So therefore, yes. So that's why this common sense will come up into the next stage, that then it comes into the state of responsibility of finding out what brings us happy and what brings us suffering. What makes us be suffered and what makes us be happy. So comes this stage. So therefore, different view, different path, different belief manifested from this point. Different. So some says that, oh, I believe this makes me suffer, I believe this makes me happy. So people who fits with that concept goes with that path. And some says like this, feel that. People who fits with that concept goes in. So this is how the different paths and everything kind of like manifested, different methods, different things. I mean, like then even in different subjects in the modern education also, science, engineering, arts, everything came up from this stage. So yes, so I have to say, Buddha Shakyamuni is also one of the greatest speaker that we had in this world, in the history of this world. So we can be proudly announce Buddha Shakyamuni also as one of the speaker, teacher, who did share his wisdom on guiding us what causes suffering and what causes happiness. So, from point of Buddha's wisdom, so he has founded that basically suffering and happiness is not something that is cultivated from body, but it is from mind. यो खुशी दुःख भने चाहिँ यो एउटा शरीरले फलाउने चिज होइन रहेछ, यो कहाँबाट आउने, यो मनबाट आउने, मनले दिनुपर्ने हो. So it is something that comes from the mind. So now the question is, does this happiness and suffering, can this be given by someone to you as a gift or as a punishment? So from point of Buddha's view, he said the answer is no. The reason why he said no is that because it says that all the effects, result, comes from its own cause and condition. बिना cause condition केही फल्न सक्दैन. एउटा भ्यू र कारण चाहियो फल फल्नु लागि. बिना भ्यू कारणले केही फल्न सक्दैन. Even an unlearned farmer also knows this. बिना रोपेर पछि धान काट्नु पाउँदैन. So what does this indicate? This indicates that whatever appears from cause and condition. Biنا cause and condition, without depending on cause and condition, nothing appears. So how come everything has cause and condition, but how come suddenly happiness and suffering is not being like conditioned, but being given by someone? So that doesn't make sense. In the environment of the phenomena where everything happens on the basis on the cause and condition, suddenly one object popped up and said, oh, this is something that doesn't come from cause and condition, but this is given by some kind of like a creator or almighty. So from point of logic, or what do you call it? Logically, practically, it doesn't make sense. It really doesn't make sense. So either if it's been given by someone, then it has to be in the phenomena of where things are not dependent on cause and condition. Then okay, it will fit. But in the phenomena of cause and condition, so there isn't suddenly something that is being controlled by an individual. Logically, it affects. Practically also, there's no proof, there's no reasoning, valid reasoning, or neither there's no evidence. So if you believe, okay, that's a different word. That's your choice. So therefore, suffering has a cause and condition, same as that happiness also has a cause and condition. And so what causes suffering is been understood as the afflicted emotions. Afflicted emotions. So in Sanskrit, klesh. In Nepali also same language, klesha, klesh. In English, afflicted emotions, or can be understood as defilements. Defilements means an emotion that makes our mind become defiled, afflicted, confused, lost, and being lost in a sense of lack of awareness. Lack of awareness on the knowing of fact is called lost. So that has been caused by the afflicting emotions. So basically, in Buddhism, when you say negative, Nepali ma paap bhन्छ, kukarma. So what is negative? The negative is none other than the afflicting emotions. So basis on the influence of afflicting emotions, so whatever movement or activities that is performed by our body, speech and mind is called paap. Negative karma. Negative karma. Either it might look from outside, the performance might look very neat and clean, but if it's been influenced by the afflicting emotions, of course, so that is regarded as a negative karma. So negative and positive has nothing to do with God and evil. It's nothing to do with this. What is negative and positive? So it's to do with like if our mind is being influenced by afflicting emotions, and by that, when we take movement, it's called negative, and when our mind is being influenced by the mode, like let's say thoughts, view, motivated by motivation, that is absence of this afflicting emotions. We can give examples such as like love and kindness or compassion. Love and kindness or compassion is lack of afflicting emotions. So such this kind of mind, influenced by this kind of mind, so the action we take is all becomes positive. Kushal karma. So now, regarding this, I would like to extend a little bit about the purpose of praying and reciting. Pratnara jap. So, what does praying really means in Buddhism? Okay, different spiritual religion have different views of understanding what does praying means. So in Buddhism, let's say what does praying means? A praying is called method. Method, upaya. What kind of method? A method that can help our mind to calm down if our mind is being traumatized by the afflicting emotions. So by praying is to help our mind to calm down and create a positive feelings. To create a positive feelings that can help our mind to become positive. In fact, the positive result is something that can't be given to you by Buddha. Buddha himself made this very clearly. He said that the negative action can't be washed with the holy water. पाप प्रवृत्त पानीले मेटाउन सक्दैन, मेटिन सक्दैन. प्रवृत्त पानीमा डुबेर पाप मेटिन सक्दैन. Buddha said this very clearly. The suffering of sentient beings can be removed by enlightened hand. बुद्धले हात के भन्छ तन्काएर लम्काएर पनि हाम्रो दुःखलाई रोक्न सक्दैन. So, and the Buddha also said that neither my wisdom realization can be transferred to you. ज्ञान पनि त्यस्तो दिन मिल्ने होइन. It's not that Buddha doesn't want to give. It's not that he doesn't want to do it. The fact is fact. The fact is fact. One thing as a Buddhism, we have to know this very, very clearly. As what Buddha said. When Buddha gave, in one of the teachings, Buddha made this very clearly. Either I come in this world or not, either I teaches or not, that doesn't matter, the fact. The fact is always going to remain how it is. नेपालीमा अब भन्यो भने बुद्धले म यो संसारमा आएर मैले प्रवचन दिएर यो प्रकृतिको नियम कुशल राम्रो गरेर फेरेर जान्छ भने प्रकृतिलाई केही फरक पर्दैन. म आए पनि नआए पनि पत्ता त हरियै हुन्छ. यो पत्ता हरियो प्रकृतिले बनाएको. म आएर मैले प्रवचन दिएर पत्ता हरियो भएको होइन. म यो संसारमा म आएको थिएन भने यो प्रकृतिको नियम के छ त्यस्तै बस्छ. मैले प्रवचन दिएँ यो प्रकृतिको नियम प्रपित हुने केही छैन. म नआएर यो प्रकृतिको नियम के भन्छ एउटा नेगेटिभ त्यस्तो हुने केही छैन. Why Buddha said the facts does not depends on me. The fact is always the fact. This is a very, very strong statement. Very, very strong statement. As a preacher, okay, sorry to use this language, but you need to have a gut to speak this out. डराउँछ सबैजनाले यो भन्नु. Confidence छैन. But Buddha had confidence to speak because as he is omniscient, so he has the confidence to speak. That's why he had the kebats. With respect, he had the guts to speak out. The fact does not depend on me. The fact is always going to be fact. And the fact is, पानीले मेटिँदैन. दुःख के भन्छ सम्पूर्ण प्राणीको दुःख बुद्धको हात तन्काएर रोक्न सक्दैन कि न मेरो ज्ञान तिम्रो माथि मैले बार्न सक्दैन. यो मलाई दिनेको इच्छा नभएको होइन, दिन मन नभएको होइन, मेरोमा माया करुणाले नपुगेको होइन. तर यो प्रकृतिमा के छ भने सबै चिज आफ्नै बिउ र कारणबाट फलिनु पर्छ. गुरु पद्मसम्बन्ध पनि के भन्नुपर्छ? बिना साधन सिद्ध छैन. सिद्ध चाहियो भने साधना गर्नुपर्छ. So means which means that without practicing there's no result. So another language, without accomplishing there is no accomplishment. Accomplishment depends on accomplishing. And this is something like in this world, in this world, if you want to accomplish something, एउटा accomplishment चाहियो भने जेसुकै होस्, जस्तो सिधो होस्, if you want to accomplish something, you need to work on that. Without accomplishing, there's no accomplishment. Especially in the world of के भन्छ यो capitalist, it's terrible. I mean, like, personally, I'm not a capitalist. Because in capitalist world, it says there's nothing free. Your capitalist language. Your संसारमा केही free छैन है. This is the language of capitalist. Anyway, what I'm trying to say is that everything has to come from its own cause and condition. This is why the Buddha can't transform. So that's why then the final Buddha said, how can I help you? The only way I can help you is to translate my wisdom into teaching and speak that out and share with you. This is the only way how I can help you. So if you wish to attend, so this is the way how I can only help you to get liberated is by teaching. Basically, teaching is none other than Buddha translated his own wisdom. He translated his own wisdom into language, into teaching. So this is what he said. The way how I can take you to liberation is by teaching. So that's why Buddha said that, what's the relationship between me, Buddha said, me, Buddha as a teacher, and you as a student is that I'm a doctor and you are a patient. That's what our relationship is. As a doctor, through my knowledge, I can diagnose your problem and prescribe. But as a patient, you have the responsibility to cure the disease, not me. The doctor can't cure the disease. Doctor can diagnose and prescribe, but can't cure. Cure koso zimma. That is totally a patient. Upachar para niko hone bhane yo patient, it's on the patient's hand. If the patient takes the medicine and follows the doctor's guidelines, jati huncha. Garena bhane jati hunदैन, ठ्याक्कै त्यसो उल्टा गर्यो भने you become more worse. That's exactly what Buddha said. And Buddha said, what is Dharma? In this case, the Dharma is like medicine. Dharma they are also the one. So, and in Buddhism, I'm the Tiranga, Sangha. And what is Sangha? Sangha is a nurse. Or बिमारीलाई नर्सहरू चाहियो साथी गर्ने टाइम टु टाइम सम्झाउने टाइम टु टाइम बुझाउने so Sangha is a nurse. So anyway, Buddha said that the relationship between me, Buddha as a teacher, and you as a student is that you have to see me as a doctor and you yourself as a patient. So what type of patient? You are being infected with the disease called afflictive emotions. So your patient being infected by the disease of afflictive emotions. So I am a doctor who can diagnose that. So this is how Buddha said that. So this is how I can help you. I mean, exactly, this is how the doctor can help us. Okay, this is how the doctor helps us. Doctor can't help us by आशीर्वादले डक्टरलाई हामीले क्योर गर्न सक्दैन न डक्टर उसको ज्ञान उसको दिमाग हाम्रोमा हालेर क्योर हुँदैन but उसले सही डायग्नोज र सही प्रिस्क्रिप्सन दिएर त्यसलाई हामीले फलो गरेर that's how it can be cured. So therefore, yes. So since suffering has a cause and condition, and happiness has a cause and condition, and this cause and condition comes from its, so this suffering and happiness comes from its own cause and condition. So the Buddha said that to where how we can come into a stage not to suffer is stop producing cause and condition that brings suffering. Stop that from God. They said we need to avoid it. Stop it. So we need to engage into what brings us happiness. Happiness. Of course, the word of suffering and happiness is very simple, and we all feel, we all know it. But of course, in fact, if we really go into thoroughly investigation, we have lots of misunderstanding on what is happiness and what is suffering. So, if you investigate, you might end up with knowing this is suffering, something that you always believed it was a happiness. It was happiness. So, like Buddha gave example. Just okay, bugs, moth, the way how they get attached on light. They get attached on light, and so the way how they get attached on light, moth, bugs are the batima. So they get attention and they believe that is the happiness. But of course, when they get attention on that, so they get killed. We give example like believing happiness is visual. So it's like moth getting attracted to the light. Believing sound is happiness. It is like the way how the deer gets trapped. The deer or they are so attracted on sound. That's why the shikari the music buzzons are music buzzons. Deer attracted on the najma on the margins. So and like believing smell is happiness. The way how your bees get stuck in the plant and get killed. And believing the taste is happiness. So we give example like a fish. Because a fish, the masa is the hook khana, but inside it is a hook actually. So because of the taste my attachment power, the fish gets hooked up. The fish gets. So like example. So what I'm trying to say is like, it is important also to diagnose what exactly is happiness and what exactly is suffering. You might be believing this is happiness, but make sure that you don't end up being like a moth, deer, bees, and fish and like this. So believing this is happiness, but ends up. Anyway, the 6th century master of Nalanda, whose name is Shantideva, he is a very great bodhisattva, and he's writing Bodhisattva Charya Avatara still just now. His teachings are so much very, very precious and important even at this time. What he said that why he feel compassion to all the human sampurna prani like why he feel compassion. He has given many reasons. One of the reasons he says, because we all wish not to be suffered, but we always go collecting what causes us suffering. We wish to be happy, but what brings us happy, we crush it like an enemy. हामी दुःख हुनु छैन तर जे कारणले हामीलाई दुःख पाउँछ त्यो कारणले हामीले सधैँ थुपारेर कमाएर बस्छ हामीले सधैँ यार मलाई खुसीहरू पाओस् भनेर आशा राखिरहेको छ तर जे कारणले हामीलाई खुसी दिन्छ त्यसलाई हामी शत्रु जतिको रूपमा हेरेर त्यसलाई किल्चेर ठिक पार्दिन्छ So Shantideva said that so Shantideva said because of this ignorance so he feels like compassion सोच्नु बेग्लै तर हुने चिज चाहिँ बेग्लै अन्त अन्तिममा पाउने बेग्लै so therefore it is also important to know what is happiness and what is suffering. So that's why basically I always call it happiness is not just only some kind of like khushi. Khushi is not necessarily happiness. A piece of cake with khushi banaus, but if you eat the whole cake, you'll get sick. So therefore, a cake is not a happiness. So therefore there's some. So that's why we call it. We have to look not just only for happiness, but something called a genuine happiness. A genuine happiness. So it should be a genuine happiness that makes our mind be calm, free, and free from affliction. This is called the jesuke happiness. If that antima, it does not cause our mind to be peace, calm, and afflicted, we regard that as that's not a happiness. So that's like a light, like a fish hook. हेर्दाखेरि happiness हुन्छ तर अन्तिममा so therefore what is genuine happiness? As I told you, it needs to be something that brings like a genuine peace, calm and free from afflicted. Our sense of satisfaction, is that really a happiness? Very difficult to say that. Sense of satisfaction. Sometimes we believe that happiness should be a sense of contentment. Content. Yes, from one hand, it is very important. Content, example of individual who understands contentment will understand happiness. An individual who doesn't understand contentment definitely will never ever understand happiness. Kinabane, why? Because passion or desire is like a salty water. Someone who is drinking salty water when they want to quench their thirst. So when you want to quench your thirst, if you take salty water, that's going to make it worse. So basically, example, rag, desire is very, very interesting. It is very, very interesting. I mean, or example, when anything whatever, like, I'll just do once and then that will be enough. When you do it, it will never be enough. You want to do it. So basically what is attachment, desire? So desire is an addiction. Addiction. It never, desire doesn't has the sense of contentment. Sense of contentment छैन भने अन्त के हुन्छ? I want to develop more and more. So sense of contentment मलाई रोक्छ. So isn't having desires is happiness? My answer is still no, it is not happiness. The reason why is because the more you cultivate desire, that much you create in your mind the sense of hope and fear. जति desire cultivate हुन्छ त्यसको हिसाबमा hope र fear बढ्छ. And the hope and fear means that when you have a hope and fear in your mind, so you'll never have a peace of mind. You'll never have a peace of peace mind. एउटा सानो टुक्रा शान्ति मन पनि हुन सक्दैन एउटा hope and fear छ. Example म एउटा दिन्छु. Example, hope and fear हाम्रो माइन्डलाई कतिको डिस्टर्ब गर्छ. हामी बिमार हुँदा होप हुन्छ, जाति हुन्छ भनेर होप राख्छ. तर त्यो in fact, if you really see hope राख्दाखेरि, the hope makes us get more suffer. बिमार हुँदा कहिले जाति हुन्छ कि भनेर the hope makes us more suffer. And fear, like when you are happy, comes fear together. The fear that happiness environment pura bigardiन्छ. So when you get sick, when we cultivate the sense of hope, the answer, that is answer because we wish not to be suffering. So I'm not going to blame when you have the whole feeling, but by the same time I'll say that you have to understand that when you cultivate hope sense, your mind becomes more weak rather than being strong. अब जाति हुने आशा राख्नुपर्छ भन्दा आशा राख्नुपर्छ हो सही हो. त्यो आशा राखेन भने पटक हुँदैन. म पनि उनीहरू जस्तो राम्रो भयो कस्तो हुन्छ कि म पनि उनीहरू जस्तो यस्तो नभए कस्तो हुन्छ कि त्यो मन धेरै त्यस्तो खाले होप धेरै सोची बस्यो भने you get more and more depressed. You get more because when you look back, then you find, I'm not in that position. So you get more depressed. So therefore, basically, treatment of the hope science of the science. I want to get well, fine. But the people I wish and the I wish they would just hope they cultivate God. So it makes your mind get more panic, anxiety, अन्त डिप्रेसन बुझ्ने हो भने डिप्रेसन पर्छ बुझ्ने हो भने बुझ्दैन भने लकी हो I mean I don't understand depression personally I don't understand depression because depression doesn't exist in my dictionary as I told you as far as I understand is panic do you understand yes depression no I still don't understand anyway so either you say that's good luck for me or whatever it is but it doesn't exist in my personal dictionary so anyway so hope and fear when you have attachment it has hope and fear when you have hope so it creates more pain when you have fear it creates more pain like your tail okay you get it when you get that you have to enjoy that खुशी हुनुपर्छ तर खुशी हुँदैन अझै यो भन्दा अर्को पाउनु कस्तो हुन्छ भने hope that's called hope so basically पहिला यो पाउनु खुसी हुन्थ्यो भने त्यो पाउँदाखेरि खुसी भएन who destroyed that happiness त्यो पाउनु म एकदम खुसी हुन्थेँ कि भने त्यो फिलिङलाई कसले डिस्ट्रोय गर्यो होपले त डिस्ट्रोय गर्यो एउटा हामी सुविस्ता सन्चो अन्त हाम्रो स्वास्थ्य राम्रो हुँदाखेरि पनि त्यस्तो calmness environmentलाई कसले बिगार्छ fearले बिगार्छ hope and fear so therefore attachmentमा hope and fear हुन्छ cultivation so therefore it's not a genuine happiness it is not a genuine happiness so anyway but there are some people who believe happiness is working and collecting like a nut जिन्दगीमा अब त्यो के भन्छ त्यो काउन्टरमा बसेर गन्दी गरेर जानेहरू छ कोही दे बिलिभ देयर इज ह्याप्पिनेस ओके फाइन ओके गो अन के भन्ने त so but in fact if someone really wants to get to know more so this is what I said that desire has this sense of hope and fear the sense when you have hope and fear sense it is not possible to have even a piece of peace mind even for a second it is not possible so then where is the happiness because example happiness to sense happiness the environment the चाहिने त्यसको environment without that environment how can you sense it so when you don't so what is the environment for the happiness the only environment for the happiness is the peace and calm unafflicted mind जब त्यो हुन्छ then you can have the happiness जब त्यो environment create हुँदैन you bring all the different kind of material conditions everything still not possible to be happy and we all know that so His Holiness Dalai Lama used to give an example there are some people who are very rich and they have like 100-story building say tala building but so building banaya then what will they look later they look after which window is suitable for them to jump त्यो खोज्छ अनि पछि कुन चाहिँ झालबाट चाहिँ म हाम फाल्दा ठिकै हुन्छ त्यो पछि त्यो खोज्छ because like when there's no sense of peace calm and unafflicted state so it doesn't matter what you have earned there's no sense of happiness so then what you see is full of suffering जहाँ गयो भने त्यो भएन यो भएन उता भएन so therefore genuine happiness should be some like that brings our mind into a state of free into calmness peace free from affliction within that state, the most interesting part is that there's no hope, there's no fear in that state. So therefore, yes. So anyway, so that's, we can go on forever. I guess I have to stop somewhere now. we can go on forever and ever. So therefore, it is important to also define what is correct, what is happiness, and what is suffering correctly. So anyway, as a conclusion, what Buddha message is that if you wish to be happy and if you don't want to be suffered, Buddha said, in the beginning what you need is knowledge. ज्ञान चाहिन्छ बिना ज्ञानले बुझ्न सक्दैन अरु त छोड्दै दुःख के हो सुख के हो त्यो पनि सही तरिकाले बुझ्न सक्दैन बिना ज्ञान so knowledge where does knowledge comes from the Buddha said the knowledge comes from studying and contemplation पढ्ने contemplation what is contemplation पढ्ने भन्ने अब listening to teaching, किताब पढ्ने, teacher पर teaching listening गर्ने. First, त्यसले चाहिँ के गर्छ भने हामीले नबुझेको चिजहरू, नसुनेको चिजहरू सुनेर बुझ्नेमा सहयोग गर्छ. तर त्यो बुझ्ने त्यति एक्लै काम लाग्दैन. किनभने whatever you have understood, you need to have confidence on that. Certainty चाहियो त्यसमाथि. Certainty, confidence चाहियो. जब सर्टेनिटी कन्फिडेन्स हुँदैन सो त्यो बुझेको एक्लै हामीलाई बेनिफिट गर्न सक्दैन टु बी अनेस्ट वी नो अ लट नाउडेज बट वेन यु फेस प्रब्लम यु गेट टोटली लस्ट वेन यु फेस प्रब्लम वी फिल लाइक केही नबुझेको छ एनीवे सो one of the reasons why one of the proof that we don't have confidence in our own knowledge is that because what's your knowledge and what you practice is totally opposite. हामीले knowledge के पाएको छ तर हामीले सधैँ practical life मा हामीले के practice गर्दैछ एउटा पूर्वमा छ एउटा पश्चिममा पुगिरहेको छ knowledge पूर्वमा छोडेको छ हामी पश्चिमबाट हिँडिरहेको छ so the knowledge and our life doesn't come together because this is not that we have not been educated, this is lack of what we call contemplation. Contemplation is के गर्छ भने the contemplation helps us to gain confidence and certainty. So what is contemplation? Contemplation means thoroughly researching and examining. Examination. Thoroughly research गर्ने र examination गर्ने त्यो knowledge-लाई जे सुने त्यो बुझे त्यहाँ जब त्यसलाई हामीले thoroughly examination गर्न सक्दैन तब त self confidence गाह्रो हो maybe 1 in a billion there will be someone भन्ने बित्तिकै हजुर बुझ्यो छलङ्गै भयो त्यो त बिलियनमा एक छ कि छैन त्यो पनि आजकल हाम्रो जमाना पहिलो जमानामा थियो मिलाएर भयो मार्बलले भन्ने बित्तिकै छलङ्गै बुझ्यो थियो पहिलो जमानामा मिलाएर बस्ने थियो पछि त हिस्ट्रीमा सुन्दैन हामीले कहीँ हिस्ट्रीमा त्यो कहीँ इन्भेस्टिगेसन त्यसो केही सुनेन सबै कसरी छलङ्ग भएछ भने फ्रम थरोली एक्जामिनेसन सबैजना त्यहाँबाट पो ग्रेट मास्टर्सहरूले पनि कहाँबाट यो के भन्छ हामी त्यो अर्डिनरी ल्याङ्ग्वेज छलङ्गै भयो भन्छ नि थरोली इन्भेस्टिगेसनबाट एक्जामिनेसनबाट भयो द्याट्स कल्ड कन्टेम्प्लेसन इन बुद्धिज्म सो देयरफोर where does knowledge come from? Knowledge comes from the wisdom of studying, reading and hearing. The second is the wisdom of contemplation. So the contemplation Boudha, so there. Then the third one is called the wisdom of concentration. In Buddhism, concentration. जे बुझेको त्यसलाई practice गर्ने जे बुझेको त्यसलाई प्र्याक्टिस गर्ने त्यसलाई प्र्याक्टिस गरेन भने कसरी benefit हुन्छ the knowledge ले? So knowledge is in your book, so it's not going to benefit you. So what makes our practical life and knowledge becomes what you call it inseparable is the wisdom of practicing. Practice गर्ने. तर practice गर्न लागि बुझ्नु पर्यो. बुझेर एक्लै हुँदैन. त्यसलाई सेल्फ कन्फिडेन्स सर्टेनिटीमा लेभलमा ल्याउनु पर्छ. त्यसलाई ल्याउनको लागि इन्भेस्टिगेसन गर्नुपर्छ. So which I mean like Buddha himself has gave us this permission saying the way how you examine a word, you should examine a word. And if there's something that makes sense, accept it. But don't accept saying in the name of faith. Buddha वचन हो भनेर त्यसको बेसिसमा चाहिँ एक्सेप्ट नगर्नु. दिमाग चलाएर बुझेर हो कि होइन त्यसलाई के भन्छ एक्जामिनेसन गरेर जाँच के भन्छ सनातन होइन समीक्षा त्यो गरेर अन्त बल्ल जस्तो कि एउटा किसानले खेती रोप्नु लागि त्यसले पहिला चाहिँ के भन्छ he has to first plow the field. हलो जोग्नु पर्यो. त्यो जोगेर एक्लै भएन. तर त्यो जोगेर त्यहाँ ढुङ्गा सुङ्गा के छ यो सबै निकाल्नु पर्छ. हलो जोग्ने इज लाइक अ स्टडी. तर हलो जोगेर त्यसले ढुङ्गाहरू निकाल्न सक्दैन. त्यो ढुङ्गाहरू निकाल्नु चाहिँ इज लाइक अ कन्टम्प्लेसन. कन्टम्प्लेसन गर्दाखेरि अन्त यो सही हो कि होइन गलत हो कि होइन के रहेछ यो सबै कन्टम्प्लेसनले क्लियरेन्स गर्छ. इज दिस करेक्ट अर नट? इज दिस करेक्ट अर नट? सो द कन्टम्प्लेसन देन फाइनली यु त्यो रोप्नु पर्यो. त्यहाँ त्यो रोप्नुलाई द विजडम अफ कन्सन्ट्रेसन. With these three, that's how knowledge is being cultivated. So therefore, my message is that it is clearly that without knowledge, we won't be able to protect ourselves. If we don't know how to protect ourselves, nobody can come and protect us. I'm sorry to say, प्रार्थना is not the solution. If the प्रार्थना is solution, अहिले यो संसारमा केही दुःख नहुनु पर्ने. यो संसारमा प्रार्थना गरेर एटलिस्ट 2021 वर्ष भइसक्यो. 2021 वर्ष मान्छेले प्रार्थना गरेर अहिले हामी पेन्डेमिक फेस गरिरहेको छ. If प्रार्थना is the solution, we shouldn't face the pandemic now. एउटा शान्ति संसार हुनु पर्यो. But प्रार्थना is not the solution. The solution is our knowledge. Our example. When you are driving, tire puncture हुन्छ त्यहाँ बसेर हात जोडेर बसेर त्यो फिक्स हुँदैन. आफैले जग निकालेर त्यो टायर साटे भने that's how it gets fixed. प्रार्थना गरेर त्यो टायर पम्चर फिक्स कहिले हुँदैन. आफैले त्यसलाई फिक्स गर्नु पर्यो. जानु पर्यो त्यो फिक्स गर्नु. That's called solution. That's this solution. But it's not that I deny प्रार्थना. प्रार्थना काम गर्छ भने काम गर्छ. अघि मैले अगाडि भने थियो प्रार्थना र जप गर्दै कसरी काम गर्छ. योले हामीलाई when we are in the turmoil of afflicting emotions, this helps us to calm and create हामीलाई एउटा पोजिटिभ फिलिङ दिन्छ. एउटा पोजिटिभ एनर्जी दिन्छ. त्यहाँबाट अन्त हामीले त्यसलाई पक्रेर so we teach our mind to become positive. And the mind positive, that's how we experience positive. So prana does works, but not as a prana doesn't work as an ultimate solution. So because prana is just a upaya, method is not the ultimate solution. The ultimate solution is wisdom. That's what Buddha also made clear. Upaya ke garcha. If your example regard with this is उपायले सिम्पटम घटाउँछ तर डिजिज त्यसलाई के भन्छ क्योर गर्दैन तर त्यसको त उपाय व्हाट इज उपाय इज लाइक अ पेन किलर और जस्ट सम मेडिसिन त्यो सिम्पटम घटाउन लागि एक्लै सिम्पटम घटाउने दबाईले औषधिले रोगलाई उपार्जन गर्न सक्दैन रोगलाई उपार्जन गर्ने अर्को हुन्छ सो बेसिकली बिमार हुँदाखेरि वी हेभ the actual disease and this symptom. So, symptom, difference. So, therefore, pratna will help to calm down the symptom, but not the disease. The disease will have that wisdom. To get wisdom, you need to get knowledge. Now, to get knowledge, you need these 3 types of training wisdom. So, basically, what is it? Wisdom comes from knowledge. Knowledge comes from education. And how do you get educated? You get educated not just only by reading, but in Buddhism we say that you get educated by utilizing the maximum capacity of human intelligence. जति हामी ह्युमन बिङमा स्पेशल क्वालिटी चाहिँ के छ भने हाम्रोमा इन्टेलिजेन्स भन्ने छ एनिमलहरूलाई छैन त्यो ह्युमन बिङ हेज मोर हाई क्यापेसिटी अफ इन्टेलिजेन्स So we need to utilize the maximum capacity of intelligence. If we don't use the maximum capacity of intelligence, so basically this is not something new, but you might have the 3-idiot movie with Sunday. It says that you call that a well-trained but not a well-educated. Circus called lion life. You call it well-trained but not well-educated. पढ्यो तर आफ्नो इन्टेलिजेन्सलाई चलाउन सकेन भने त्यसलाई चलाएर त्यसलाई हामीले त्यो के भन्छ कन्टेम्प्लेसन गर्न सकेन भने यु मे बी अ वेल ट्रेन्ड बट नट वेल एजुकेटेड दिस इज अफ कोर्स नट समथिङ न्यू टु बुद्धिज्म सो देयरफोर दिस इज व्हाट माई मेसेज इज सो yes so the what will be the best gift or what will be the best way to remember the Buddha is to study his teaching and thoroughly investigate his teaching. एउटा पक्क सुन्नु हो भने त्यसलाई जति एक्जामिनेसन गर्यो भने त्यति टल्किँदै जान्छ so therefore the more we can contemplate, that much we will understand the teachings of Buddha. The lesser contemplation, the lesser we understand the teaching of Buddha. That is the most interesting part. You soon 24 क्यारेट हो कि होइन त्यसलाई जति जलायो भने अन्त थाहा हुँदै जान्छ त्यो 18 क्यारेट हो कि 22 क्यारेट हो कि 24 क्यारेट हो त्यसलाई जलाउँदै जाँदा त्यहाँदेखि त्यसको अनुहार देखाउँदै जान्छ 24 क्यारेट जति जलायो भने त्यति फाइन हुँदै जान्छ सेम एज द्याट the only way to understand the Buddha's teaching from depth is to contemplate. तपाईँले देख्नुभयो अब गुम्बातिर लामाहरूले त्यहाँ हात बसेर खेल्छ नि हामीले जब भन्छ इङ्ग्लिसमा डिबेट हुन्छ यो एट द्याट टाइम यो थरोली एक्जामिनेसन हुँदैछ यसमा त्यो के भन्छ एग्रिमेन्ट र डिसएग्रिमेन्ट हुन्छ सो एनिवे सो वी आर द फर द्याट So therefore, it is true that even His Holiness Dalai Lama says that if the Buddhism is being approached as Buddhism, if it is being approached as it is, the teachings of Buddha will no doubt will remain for another 1,000 years. Means it has to approach as knowledge. If we approach that, it will definitely last for 1,000 years. But if we approach to the teachings of Buddhism as a culture of faith, then it will only last for another 100 years, then it will go off. So he said that we need to approach to Buddhism as the way it is. As the way it is. So basically we might say the modern way, but in fact, let's put it this way. We need to revive the ancient tradition, ancient way of approach back. ancient way of approach is through knowledge. That's the way approaching. Yeah, I'm a history method, Nalanda history the way how they study and approach. So we need to revive back the approach of Buddhism, the ancient way of approaching. So at the end, let me ask you one question. This is what I always ask. Siddhartha Rajkumar, जब बोधि वृक्षको मुनि बस्नु भएर बुद्ध भयो त्यति बेला उसले के प्राप्त भयो ज्ञान प्राप्त भयो कि शक्ति प्राप्त भयो त्यो मलाई जवाब दिनुहोस् त्यो बुझ्यो भने बुद्ध धर्म के बुझ्न सक्छ तपाईहरुले एउटा ज्ञान धर्म हो कि एउटा बुद्ध बसी खेल्ने धर्म हो भने बुझ्नुहुन्छ ज्ञान धर्म त्यो यो मेरो लास्ट question I'll ask this question and end this session today here. So by this you'll understand what really Buddha gave teaching all about.